Everyone, my name is Matt Jarbo. This is Three Buck Theater. And there's been this ongoing battle for the last couple years between Star Trek, like CBS, Paramount, Viacom, that trifecta of terribleness in some regards, and fan films. And it all kind of came to a head a couple years ago when the crowd-funded film Axanar basically just turned the entire fan film world on its ear by coming out with the prelude to Axanar, a short documentary featuring the late Richard Hatch. It was so sad when he passed away. But this documentary was like really well done. It sold the story of the events before the original series, and they raised a lot of money to get this thing made. And as a result of that, a lot of people hated him. Alec Peters was very much shit on by a lot of people for how his company handled everything and what people believed was a lot of copyright infringement. Hell, CBS and Paramount and Viacom believed it was copyright infringement, filed a lawsuit against them. J.J. Abrams came out and was all like, no, it's all been settled. It's all good, before the release of Star Trek Beyond a year and a half ago. And it's kind of been quiet ever since then, right? It's kind of been quiet ever since. Alec and I kind of became buddies after I covered it originally. And last I heard, he's out living in Atlanta now, left Los Angeles, went to the East Coast Hollywood to set up shop over there. And it's been kind of quiet, but what we're finding out right now is, well, Axanar is going to go back into production. That's right here. It says that the fan project set in the Star Trek universe and inspired by the Battle of Axanar, a battle that did not take place on screen, but was mentioned in the Star Trek original series episode, Whom Gods Destroy. Little is known about the battle in Star Trek canon, but it's assumed that it was a major conflict between the United Federation of Planets and the Klingon Empire, which Captain Garth of Izar led the Federation to victory. Axanar intended to show the Battle of Axanar in full, produced by Alec Peters and funded via Kickstarter. The project began with Prelude to Axanar in 2014. And the series was formatted as an in-universe documentary about the 4 Years' War, with the concept borrowed from old Star Trek tabletop RPGs. And again, it was a really well done thing. It was a really well done documentary, a lot of high production value, and that's what sold it to the fans. And I think the diehard fans that are out there now still want to see it based upon what they originally saw. Now, I'm not going to jump into all the controversy surrounding Alec Peters and how he has fought back against what he calls his haters and trolls. There are a lot of people out there that I think have some valid criticisms against Alec, and he's aware of this. And there are people out there that are so vehemently against this, it's funny to watch it play out. This comment section is going to be full of people, one side or the other, that are going to be going back and forth on it. But I think we all can agree that Axanar is the reason why the Star Trek fan film community has become what it's become, which is kind of like been totally caught up in this real draconian new rule set put on by CBS about like, oh, it can only be 15 minutes, 2 parts, no feature film, nothing longer, no sequels. It has to be official merch, licensed merch purchased from us. You can't make your own costumes, like it's so draconian. It's gonna just further kill it. But apparently they're going to continue going on. Now, it says the lawsuit was settled in 2017, not long after CBS and Paramount released the official Star Trek fan content guidelines. As part of the settlement, Peters is not allowed to produce an Axanar feature as planned, but is allowed to make 30 minutes of new content split into 2 15-minute-long episodes. Because there's no better way to stifle creativity than to put a cap on the time limit. I can understand them not wanting him to release a feature-length version. Fine, I get that. But at the same time, 15 minutes? You guys are dicks. Anyway, so in a production update, Peters revealed how he and his team plan to use this 30 minutes, saying here, "We wanted to give fans what they want. It seemed obvious to tell the whole story of the Battle of Axanar in 2 more episodes of the 4 Years' War documentary. That prelude to Axanar proved to be successful. But it wasn't that easy. We had built sets in a studio, and the lawsuit cost Axanar fans about $500,000 of the money they donated. After 13 months of a lawsuit, we couldn't hold on to the studio anymore, and I, in fact, paid the last few months' rent myself at $15K a month. And trust me, that's LA. It's expensive, man. So they moved from Atlanta to Los Angeles, got Otherworld Computing to sponsor the studio, started a program with the Gwinnett County Video Production Program to use the studio to help train students. Now, real quick, when I went to film school in San Diego, I got in with a local production studio that served as kind of something similar, right? I had my internship through them. I worked on my first couple feature films through them. I worked on a lot of content through them. and it was an invaluable experience. So however much you may hate Alec Peters, however much you may really despise everything about the guy, and you are right to think that way if you want, it's your opinion. Working with the Gwinnett County Video Production Program in order to train new students in real world settings is awesome, because it gives fantastic real world experience to these students. And that is something they need if they want to get into film. Look, I'm a big film buff. I love movies as much as I love making movies. And so to me, that's actually like, that's worth the trouble. If kids get education in a hands-on environment and they're not stuck just reading about film and film theory for a year, but they actually get to get into the muck and make content, that works out. Now, to be fair, there's the other side of that, which is basically Alec is getting like, free labor out of this, which is the other side of internships. You get a lot of free labor. You'd be amazed at how many hours I've sunk into projects when I was paid simply just like a Subway dinner. You know what I mean? It's part of cutting your chops when it comes to working on this kind of stuff. Anyway, he goes on to say here that he wrote scripts for the next episodes of the 4 Years War. Paul Jenkins, the legendary Marvel Comics writer who penned Wolverine Origins, came on board as a director. Mark Edward Lewis, the amazing sound designer for Prelude to Axanar, and the guy who taught me how to edit, has stepped up to be our editor in addition to sound designer. And the guy who taught me how to edit it, Bailey is back as our DIT and colorist, and we have our Axanar costume designer, Kate Berg, now working with costume consultant Claude Dozier, making costumes. Add an amazing art department led by Simon Leeseman, Lee Quesenberry, and Alexander Richardson, Jerry Albin, and Lee on technology, and our awesome group of Axanar of Atlanta volunteers. We are doing pretty well. We have some amazing new crew you'll get to learn about, and you'll hear their stories in time, so stay tuned. Peters also confirmed that Gary Graham will reprise his role as Soval from Star Trek Enterprise for Axanar, and that J.G. Hertzler, who played several Star Trek roles but is best known for playing Martok in DS9, will return as Sam Travis. Kate Vernon is in talks to return as Sonia Alexander, and then as he's going to lay it out, they're going to shoot in L.A., and then they're going to shoot in Atlanta, and the series should be out probably by the end of the year. So that's it. That's Axanar where it's at right now. And you know what? That's cool, man. That's cool. It took a lot of time. That lawsuit. Woo, boy, that lawsuit took a lot of time and a lot of money. They raised over $1 million to make this thing. And I get why CBS went after them. I get it. Axanar's quality rivaled what we had seen in some of the other movies. It looked good. It could have been the real thing. And I think I said at the time that they should just work with Axanar to like create secondary content that go alongside Beyond at the time when Beyond was coming out, to work with them instead of working against them. You could tell J.J. Abrams and Justin Lin very much wanted to work with them. They wanted the whole thing to go away. They recognized the controversy. They understood where things were. They got it. But they also wanted, I think, to make it work. And I think that, with Beyond coming out, and the 50th anniversary of Star Trek being that year, they wanted everything to be copacetic, and it's kind of a fracture in the fan base, so to speak. But here it's been a couple years. Star Trek Discovery came out in 2017, and that show has been panned left and right. Some have said that it's irrevocably damaged the brand. But my question to you is, have you seen Prelude to Axanar? And compared to Star Trek Discovery, which would you rather see more of? And then the truth of the matter is this: if you would rather see more of Axanar versus Star Trek Discovery, then you have to watch it. You have to support it. You have to let CBS know that this is the kind of content people want to see. But the truth of that matter too is Alex Kurtzman running the show for STD. This is too funny for me. Running the show for STD and everything else, I feel is going to be it's going to be a thing. It's going to be a very interesting thing to see how it all plays out. Anyway, what are your thoughts on all this? Do you think Axanar is going to be good? Do you think it's going to be just too truncated in 30 minutes and they're not going to be able to tell the whole story that they could have gotten away with in a 90-minute or 2-hour feature? Do you just not care anymore and you're just tired of the whole drama? Or are you 100% against Alec Peters and thinks he ripped off everybody? I'm curious to know your thoughts. I think it's going to be interesting to have the discussion play out in the chat. Anyway, leave your comments below. If you made it this far, please type in Axanar. That way I know. Be sure to thumbs up the video if you want. Subscribe if you're new. You can also call in to our voicemail line. That's going to be at 818-350-3281. I had to look at it again. 818-350-3281. And you can check for those to be brought in here. Answered your questions pretty soon. And my name, of course, is Matt Jarbo. This has been $3 Theater. I will talk to you guys later. Have yourself a great day and live long and prosper.